Hi and welcome to the video training of Elixir. In this video training we will be learning about modules and functions. In Elixir we group several functions into modules. In order to create our own modules in Elixir, we use the defmodule macro. We use the def macro to define functions in that module. So let's first get into the interactive mode. Okay, here we are. And let's define a module called math, and within that module we define a function called sum, which takes in two parameters and add these two variables within the function. Then we have the end for the function and end for the module. Okay, so we have the math module now, so we can run math.sum 1, 2 and it gives us the result 3. So we have successfully defined our own module and our own function. Compilation. Most of the time it is convenient to write modules into files so they can be compiled and reused. Let's assume we have a file named math.ex with the following contents. Okay, let's create a file. We need to exit from here, or we can create a new tab here. Okay, let's create a new file and I can call it math.ex file. And within that file I can write my module, def module math do, and the sum function which receives two parameters a, b, add them up, and that's the end of the module. Okay, let's save this file. Let's go back to the console, and this file can be compiled using Elixir C, which is the Elixir compiler. So if I type in Elixir C math.ex, says it's not installed. So let me check if I can quickly install this Elixir C. Okay, I mistyped it. The spelling were wrong. So let's try again. Elixir C math.ex. Okay, and let's check the contents. Now we have the beam file. This is the compiled bytecode generated by the Elixir compiler. Okay, this will generate a file named elixir math.beam that we have already seen, containing the bytecode for the defined module. If we start IEX again, our module definition will be available, provided that IEX is started in the same directory the bytecode file is in. Okay, let's quit this and let's start the interactive mode again. Let's run math.sum 5, 2. We have 7. Elixir projects are usually organized into 3 directories. ebin contains the compiled bytecode, lib contains Elixir code, usually .ex files, and test contains tests, usually .exs files. Scripted mode. In addition to Elixir files extension .ex, Elixir also supports .exs files for scripting. Elixir treats both files exactly the same way. The only difference is in intention. .ex files are meant to be compiled while .exs files are used for scripting. This convention is followed by projects like Mix. For instance, we can create a file called math.ex and we can exs and we can run io.puts math.sum 1, 2. So io.puts math.sum 2. So we got 3 here, and executed Elixir math.exs. Okay, we need to redo this to and delete our beam file. So I'm going to remove our beam file, and I'm going to rename the math.ex file to math.exs, which will be the script file. And let's edit this file. Within this file, I'm going to add last line as io.puts and call the math module function sum and pass in the parameters. Save the file, and let's go to the command line, and we can run elixir math.exs, and we got 14. And check but this time you will see that the bytecode file wasn't created because the exs extension file is a script file and it is not compiled. That's why the bytecode file was not created. Okay, the module and loaded, but no beam file was written to disk. In the following examples, we recommend you write your code into script files and execute them as shown above. Let's look at named functions. Inside a module, we can define functions with def and private functions with def p keywords. A function defined with def keyword can be invoked from other modules, while a private function can only be invoked locally. So let's go back to our math module, and we have the sum function. And what we will be going to do is we are going to call our inner private function, which will call do_sum, and we will pass the parameters ab to that private function. And here I'm going to define my private function, which will be preceded by the def p keyword. So do_sum receives ab, do, and here we are doing our inner processing, that adding the two numbers. And if we call the sum function, and if I try to call the private function, that is do_sum, in the math module, it will generate an error. Let's see this in action. Let's clear the screen, let's run it. Okay, for the first statement we got 14, which is the sum of 5 and 9, but for the second statement we got function is undefined or private. So that's because we cannot access private functions within the modules. Okay, default arguments. Named functions in Elixir are also support default arguments. So let's define a module called concat. Let's create a new module and name it concat.exs. Def module concat do. Let's create the function called join, receives two parameters, third one as well, that is a separator. Do a is not equal to separator. This is the concatenation symbol in Elixir, less than equal to, which is basically joining the three words into a string and returning the string. Okay, that's it for the module. Now let's call this module io.puts concat.join hello, the first parameter, world second parameter. Okay, io.puts concat.join hello, first parameter, second parameter, and third parameter will be passing underscore. This is the separator. Let's save this file, go to the console and run this file concat.exs. Okay, we got argument error running bit size. Okay, let's go back to our code and okay, this should be double quotes, because in Elixir you need to be careful between single quotes and double quotes. They are different and they are entertained differently. Now you have the hello world string and the hello underscore world string. So our concat module works just fine. Any expression is allowed to serve as a default value, but it won't be evaluated during the function definition. Every time the function is invoked and any of its default values have to be used, the expression for that default value will be evaluated. Okay. Let's create default test module .exs def module default test do def do work x hello x end and end of our module. Okay, let's go to the console and let's run our module in the interactive mode. Dot default test dot do work undefined function. That's fine because we haven't compiled it. We need to create this file as .ex and then run the Elixir compiler default test.ex. Now we have the bytecode default test.beam. Now it should be available in the interactive mode. So now we can say default test dot do work. Okay, now we got hello, and second thing we need to do is to pass parameter 1 2 3. We got 1 2 3, and again we call default work. We got the hello. If a function with default values has multiple clauses, it is required to create a function head without an actual body for declaring defaults. So let's get back to our concat module, and in that module we defined our join function, and here we can say nil, and we have the separator. So basically a function, we are creating a function head. A function head, you can say it is kind of a constructor for the module. Nil operator double quotes, and we don't need do with this. So here we are going to say join a comma b separator, and we don't need this here, and we say when is nil b do a. So we are handling a case where b is empty or null. Then we will execute this case. Otherwise we will be executing our normal case, which is the concatenation function. A concat separator concat b end. Okay, that's it. Now let's run this program. Hello world, we already have this. and we already had the underscore one, and the last one is simple one parameter, that is hello. Save this file. Let's run this example. Control C. concat.ex. Okay, this is underscore separator. Okay, let's run the program again. Okay, let's run our example, and okay, here you go. We have the hello world, we have the hello underscore world, and we have the hello. When using default values, one must be careful to avoid overlapping function definitions. Consider the following example. Okay, we have the concat module, and let's create two functions within this module. Def join AB do IO dot puts first join A concat B and then define second function A comma B comma separator do IO dot puts second join A concat separator concat B end of this function and end of our module. We don't need this. Okay, let's run this module. So and you got a warning that says this clause for join cannot match because the previous clause at line 3 always match. Okay, if we comment this, if we delete this, save the file and run the program. Okay, let's save it as a Elixir file and compile it. Now we have the beam file and we can access it in our interactive mode. Call the join function 5,10. We need a string here and we got the result. So that's all about modules and functions in Elixir. I hope that you have understood how to define modules and functions in Elixir and how you can compile Elixir files and how you can create scripts. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time with a new topic in Elixir.